Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and I just wanted to record a quick video because this story about Robert Kennedy, um, about him putting a bear on a bicycle in New York City has blown my mind. So I want to talk about the astrology of it. First, just let you know today was a Leo new moon, and there's some beautiful energy with this new moon to, if we're working on something, like move it forward and like expand and bring it bigger, but in a controlled manner for success. It's not something we're starting today. As we set our intentions for this new moon cycle, we should be working on something that's already in progress because Mercury went retrograde today. Has it already gone retrograde? I think so. Let me look at let me look. 9:56 p.m. It's about to go retrograde. So, and I am like, normally I do these on StreamYard, but then I like it's looking at this screen, all this mess. So I'm streamlining it, being organized and efficient. That is Virgo. And I'm just taping this on Zoom and then I'll upload it later because I don't have the mental energy at this time of night to be fooling around with the StreamYard and the two screens and all of that mess. So that's how I'm using part of this Mercury and Virgo energy. This morning, I woke up and Virgo rules the intestines. And when a planet is stationing, its energy is intensified. And I had a lot of intestinal distress, which I almost never have. I have like an iron stomach. Yeah. But anyway, it was all twisted up in there, but now it's loosened and I feel okay. But yeah, that happened. And today, Mercury and Virgo, Mercury rules dogs. Mercury and Mars rules dogs. Mercury is like dogs who are companions. Mars, dogs who are for protection. And I live in a condo building, and there's a dog I've never seen before charging down the hall at me and Debo. And so a dog off leash. So that's again like Mercury retrograde. And one of the things that's happening with this is Mars is in Gemini. So like a dog moving fast. Gemini is air, fast, quick. Mercury and Virgo, like where's the leash? Yeah, it should have had a leash on. Anyway, I am talking about these things. But anyway, if you're interested in diving deeper into this new moon, I did a new moon workshop and I'll put it in the show notes or whatever you call this, the description, where you can go to a link and purchase the recording and watch it because there was a lot of really great information shared about this new moon. And yeah, and then maybe you'll want to come to another one live where I do hot take chart readings on participants. So yeah, and you can see some of my style if you get it and see if you want to come for a consultation with me. Yes, yes, because yeah, I use all my skills when I'm doing astrology reading. Use the astrology, I'm very intuitive and I just get the hits. And I'll tell you, this is an intuitive hit if it's not the astrology. I pull cards, all of the tools to help you get insight to make the decisions you need to make going forward or to see things in a different perspective and to have someone you can talk to who has a very practical and grounded approach. I'm a Taurus sun. Um, Aries moon, like, ooh, how can we use this to the best of our abilities? See it from a higher perspective. See like what we can challenge ourselves to, okay, you've done this, let's do this. And then a Cancer rising, a consultative approach, a warm place where you feel free to share things that you may not want to share with anyone else. Yeah. Anyway, that's my spiel. I'll put the link in the show notes for that. You can always come for an astrology reading. I also do coaching. I have 25 plus years of sales, marketing, business development, leadership experience from corporate, that I retired early to be an astrologer because it's my passion, it's my purpose, and it's my destiny. Anyway, and so this is what I do now. Okay, let's talk about Robert Kennedy Jr. So he is one of the Kennedy clan. His father was assassinated, unfortunately. Yeah, very, very sad back in the 60s. And he's kind of, I don't know, you know what? I don't know that much about him. I don't know if he was a black sheep growing up or not. All I know about him is like my impression of him before the last, couple of years has been he was an environmental rights activist who was very passionate about climate change and whatnot, and he's taught about it. Now, he also had a very messy divorce and has been a heroin addict, and like he has got a lot of stuff going on, but people are people and what have you. And when you got all that kind of wealth and privilege, sometimes people just wild out. So, whatever. But today's story is just too much. Like when he said stuff about COVID was designed so that, and well, maybe he's challenged that. So I don't even want to get into those things he said about Chinese and Jewish people and COVID. So that's not necessary. But what he did say, and he has leaked this himself because the New Yorker was getting ready to do a story about how he left a bear on a bicycle in New York City, and I believe in Central Park. So what he did is he recorded a video of himself telling this story to Roseanne Barr, another one. Anyway, I know people who like me like him, and God bless you, but whatever. This story is just too wild to not talk about. And I'm going to talk about his chart. I've gotten several asks about it, so I'll say some things about it. Anyway, um, where was I? Okay, so he's telling Roseanne Barr, and the way he tells the story, which spoiler alert, I think he made up a bunch of stuff about it to try to make it as palatable as possible. That he was driving on his way to New York City to meet some friends. This is in 2014. And he found a bear on the road who'd been killed by a car. And he said, "Oh, why don't I take this dead bear to my house and carve it up and take the meat and put it in the freezer and make bear steaks or whatever." And so he put this bear in the car and then went to New York City to a steakhouse and had dinner with some friends. And then afterwards was supposed to go to the airport and catch a flight. Mm. But so he's like, "Oh, I don't have time to get back to the house and put the bear and skin the bear and cut up the meat and do all this preparing for my future meals with this dead bear that I found on the side of the road that had been supposedly hit by a car." So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take this bear to Central Park or wherever yeah, it was Central Park, I'm pretty sure. And wouldn't it be funny if we put this dead bear on a bicycle in Central Park? Ha ha ha. So some of his friends must have, I assume he either told them about this or they helped him with this or what have you. And this has been a secret for like 10 years because it happened 10 years ago, I bet, when the North Node was in Scorpio. But now it was about to come out. So he preemptively told the story. But anyway, on Twitter, it's trending, and I'm going to get to why all this is meaningful. What's trending is Cheryl Hines. She is an actress who's married to him, and people are like, "I cannot believe Cheryl Hines is married to this man. What is she thinking?" And apparently this happened like 2 months after they got married, where he did this thing, where he took this dead bear and put it in Central Park. And it was a big deal because people happened on this dead bear. The police got involved. They took the bicycle. They were fingerprinting it. There was all this investigation, and people were like, "What is going on? Is there some psychopath out here who's killed this animal and, put it on a bike. I mean, it was a huge deal in New York City at the time. And he thought he was going to get caught, but he never did. But he, with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, like the details were come out in this expose. So he told the story in his own crafted way. We'll see what's written in this article because I bet there's more to the story than what he's telling us. But anyway, this is his chart. Now, his chart is rectified. So the time may not be exact, but it's so in line with what we're seeing. Yeah. So he's a Capricorn sun and a Cancer moon. So he's born right near an eclipse. You know that because look, his sun is within 3 degrees of the North Node. He's born on a lunar eclipse, and people born at eclipses, like lunar eclipses. Actually, there have been several presidents born on lunar eclipses. Barack Obama. Wait, was Barack at a lunar eclipse? I know Trump was at a lunar eclipse. But there are others who are born at lunar eclipses. But anyway, so he's a Capricorn sun, Cancer moon, and Leo. This person thinks he's a Leo rising, and I really think he quite well could be a Leo rising. Yes, yes, he seems very shadow Leo. Okay, anyway, you can see he's got the Uranus conjunct the South Node, and this can be when there's a lot of upheaval in someone's family, and so both his father and his uncle were assassinated, and Uranus rules assassinations, and so you can see that family story like with that in his chart. And he has Neptune down at the, I'm not surprised at all. He has Neptune in the 4th house. Now, the 4th house is the house of the father. He also has Mars and Saturn there. So his father wasn't around for part of his life where he was growing up. And yeah, but he's a chameleon. Look at this. He's got his Sun square Neptune. He can cast a spell on people and make them think he's something he's not. But nobody really knows him. That just like, unless you really, really spend a lot of time with him, you probably don't really know him. Everything is under the surface. He comes off as charming and empathetic and charming, Leo rising, empathetic, Cancer moon. The moon is the only thing that's above the horizon. But all this Capricorn, he's a handsome man, sun next to Venus. Yeah. Anyway, very interesting. But the solar eclipse on April 8th was at his midheaven, if this timing is right, which makes sense because the solar eclipse on April 8th was conjunct, it was the sun, moon, and Chiron all at 19 degrees of Aries. And Chiron's a wounded healer. So there's something about in the midheaven, when you have an eclipse at your midheaven, like it's very public. And because he's running for president, he's out there in the public. But Chiron is like self-inflicted wounds in Aries when it's in Aries, because Chiron wounds are heals. Aries is a sign of the self. And so things he's done in the past are coming up into the private view because his opponents are doing oppositional research. I mean, these elections get real nasty where they're all looking for stuff and looking for dirt and whatnot. Yeah, and there was an article in Vanity Fair about like, and he has something about dead animals, him doing something with a dead animal in Vietnam or something like that. That was a weird, weird picture and story. And like some of his sexual stuff has been coming out. He's got Mars, if this is correct, Mars and Scorpio, conjunct Saturn. Okay, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to hear about it. Okay, but I will get into the timing of this story. So it's on a new moon Mm, new moons, things are seated on the new moon. If this is right, the new moon, if it's a Leo rising, the new moon is in his first house of the self, the physical body, the vitality. It's how we are seen by others when we walk into a room is our ascendant. And so in the first house, and this Leo dramatic thing he did, it's like really really dramatic, like putting a dead bear on a bicycle at like 60 years old. How old? Yeah. This he was 60 years old when he did this thing. I wish I knew the date. Hmm. Oh, I can probably find it if people don't mind. Well, you know what? Let me try to find the date. I'm going to pause the recording while I find the date that he put this bear on this bicycle because I think it will be really interesting. Hmm. Let me stop sharing for a second. Oh, wait, that's just share stopping the. Okay, it was back in October of 2014. So let's now, I'm not sure of the exact day. There was a New York Times article. Let's just look at like when you look, you can look at this. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so this was around a lunar eclipse. Let's look at this by wheel. This is the lunar eclipse before before he look at this. This was the lunar eclipse before he before he oh, it's on October 8th. Yeah, this was the day that there was the story. This is related to this lunar eclipse, I believe, because look at this. He's a Sun Venus person, and there's Sun Venus, and he's a Moon Uranus person, and they're Moon Uranus. And so this eclipse squared his nodes. And this is like crossroads energy. Oh, he had just gotten married, Sun Venus. Hmm, interesting. And Mercury was retrograde. You can't make this stuff up. Mercury was retrograde back when he did this. Things that done in the dark will come to the light. I think I posted that on Threads. And Mercury went retrograde today. I guess he taped the video with Roseanne maybe yesterday or a couple days ago or whenever. It doesn't matter. The story made news today under this Leo new moon at 12 degrees of Leo. So today Jupiter's in Leo was in Leo back then, but today there's like a new moon today at 12 degrees, which would have been a trine, which is trine the Uranus from back then. So the date he like dropped the animal in the park, um, we yeah, like it's easiest to just go look at the eclipse closest to get information on the story. Mm. Pluto was in early Capricorn. Mars in his fifth house, like risk taking, Mars in Sagittarius, doing something insane like this. He was in his second Saturn return. This man did this in his second Saturn return. Saturn near Saturn near his Mars. His Mars between Saturn and Saturn in the sky. Like, I don't know if he has this thing about, I hope he's not I hope he doesn't enjoy hurting hurting things. It was hit by a car, so he didn't torture it. It was hit by a car. Whatever. I'm just gonna leave it there. But yeah, Mars, Saturn can be like, and Capricorn can be like, Scorpio and Capricorn can be like enjoying cruelty, confining people or animals, that sort of thing. Yeah. It on a shadow side. But anyway, the thing I found it so interesting about why I wanted to tape the video, it was such a good example of the progressed moon. So the progressed moons, okay. So this is his natal chart in the middle. This is his progressed chart, and this is the current transits. Yeah, but I moved back 2 days ago to show you about, because the progressed moon is one of the best timers that there is. And you can see about when events are going to pop into our lives. And you can see the progressed moon, his was at 29 degrees of Capricorn on his Mercury. Mercury, how we think and communicate. Mercury, making a plan in Capricorn. Yeah, interesting. That's devoid of emotion kind of thing. Oh yeah, let me this will be, won't this be hilarious? Yeah, really. And so at 29 degrees, that last degree of crisis and decay, oftentimes there's something that happens. Sometimes it may be just internal, and sometimes there's an outer event where when our progressed moon changes signs, it's a symbolic of what happened. So the progressed moon going from 29 Capricorn to 0 Aquarius. And Aquarius rules the collective. Pluto's at 0 Aquarius. So you can see, like, and Pluto brings things up from Pluto unearths things. Pluto exposes the rot, and yeah, you can see Pluto within a degree of his Mercury, within a couple degrees of his Sun, his identity, how he thinks, being exposed to the collective Aquarius. And if this time is right, Pluto's on his descendant. Jennifer Lopez is having kind of like the same transits. I wonder what his wife is going to think about this thing, if this may be a bridge too far for her to keep putting up with this man. Yeah, because he's being exposed to the collective. It's like really and really, really ugly story. And his progressed moon's on the cusp of his seventh house. The seventh houses are one-on-one relationships. It's a one-on-one partnership. So obviously someone told on him, because this has been a secret for 10 years. But you can see that, yeah, because the one-on-one relationships can be like best friend type people or open enemies. So he probably knows who told the story because he knows who he told. Well, who knows? Maybe he told lots of people. I don't know. But somebody either who helped him or who he told the story to the press. And look at his progressed Chiron is on his sun. Yeah. So this story has come out. Yeah. Let me also look back to the month, the lunation before, because there was an eclipse when the story came out. Let's look at this. October 8th. Yeah, so there was this whole big investigation about this bear and forensic analysis, and they decided it was hit by a car. Okay, so there was a new moon at 10 Libra, and the moon before that, oh, I'd have to, oh, no, 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 2014. 2014. Okay, great. There was a new moon at 1 Libra. See if there's any additional things that we can. Oh, look at this. 1 Libra. I think this birth chart is rectified properly. And it's in the 3rd house. He was driving down the road. Hmm. Jupiter and his Mars and square. Mars and Jupiter. Oh, wouldn't this be a great idea? Hmm. And oh, Jupiter try this is amazing. Jupiter was trine Uranus at the new moon preceding the event. It was written up in the New York Times on the 7th of October. So, but it said it was happened in October. So the date it exactly happened is not clear. So we looked to the eclipse, which I already did, which was a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Makes a lot of sense doing some weirdo stuff like this. And then there was it a lunar? It was in Scorpio season. What was the lunar eclipse? Oh Lord. Total lunar eclipse. No, it was a lunar eclipse in Aries. Did I say Scorpio? A lunar eclipse in Aries. So apologies, it's late. With the a lunar eclipse in Aries, Aries violence, Aries, and conjunct Uranus, something shocking and bizarre and perverse. Yeah. And yeah. And we can see we're in the nodal reversal of this time, because right now the north node is in Aries and the south node is in Libra. And the sun Chiron happening at 19 Libra, boom, to the south node, bringing this what was done in the dark back to the light, even though the eclipse was months ago. It opens a cycle. Yeah, squaring his moon. And his 12th house of self-sabotage, 12th self-undoing, doing hidden things, having a love of the bizarre and the perverse. It could be ways you could delineate this. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to, did I say lunar eclipse in Scorpio? I meant, sorry if I said it wrong, in Aries. But hopefully you saw the chart and knew. Okay, so so he did this after in this lunation phase where the sun trine his descendant. So yeah, I bet one of his buddies helped him do this. And yeah, anyway, that's enough of that. No need to beat a dead horse anymore. But yeah, that's mm, and that's yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if, but so the bear was hit by a car, we know that, but this whole story is really fuzzy. It really doesn't make a lot of sense about him wanting to put this bear in the fridge and skin it and whatnot when he had a flight to catch and this, that, and the other thing. So anyway, inquiring minds wanted to know what's the real deal. So I guess we will find out more in the New Yorker if whoever knows the real story. These Kennedy men or something. Oh my goodness. So anyway, if he's your candidate, all good for you. But this story is bizarre and tells, and I said, this is one of the things I wrote on Threads. We are going to learn about the childhood conditioning, Moon conjunct South Node and Uranus in Cancer of the candidates. Yeah, as we go through this election cycle. And I said, not just the main two. And this, I wrote this back when it was Trump and Biden. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Mm. Anyway, this is the story. So you can just a reminder to grab the new moon workshop if you are so interested in learning more about this lunation cycle. I mean, Leo is such wonderful energy on the high road, confident, proud, like really drawing energy, radiant, warm, but the shadow side can be vain. Um, Thinking the world revolves around you. You're all that matters. Arrogant, bossy, mm, um, and even like dominating, like trying to squash people. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, really interesting. Okay, that's all I had to say.